Fibromyalgia is a chronic medical condition most common in young or middle-aged women, but can occur in men at any age. Is most commonly characterized by symptoms of pain and/or stiffness and tenderness of the muscles, tendons, and joints. Additional less common symptoms of fibromyalgia include depression or mood swings, fatigue, restless sleep, anxiety, and bowel problems.
Welcome to New Connection, where you can tune in and grow. I'm your host, Vicki Thompson. On New Connection, we welcome authors, practitioners, and visionaries to share new ideas for alternative health, spirituality, and personal growth. Today, I'd like to welcome to New Connection Olivia Roberts, who is the author of Chronic Pain and Debilitating Conditions: Make Unwanted Symptoms Disappear. Olivia's Resolution Magic program retrains the mind with a set of mental exercises that help to let go of unwanted symptoms as well as unwanted feelings. Olivia, welcome to New Connection.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so thrilled to be here.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. You've come over from the UK, and so we're so pleased that you've come here.
Thank you.
So, like many people, you've experienced chronic pain in your life. How did that inspire you to write Chronic Pain Resolution?
Well, it took an awful long time because I was actually ill about 26 years ago, and I had terrible chronic pain from head to foot. I had migraine, chronic fatigue, and I just didn't know where to turn. I just lay on the settee every day thinking that I was dying, and I couldn't look after my children. I knew I would never be able to work again. I just didn't know what was going to happen, and I couldn't understand what was wrong with me. Every single day was the same, and every single day I wondered how I was still alive. And then I began to work on a very strange mental exercise which slowly, very slowly began to reduce my symptoms until they finally disappeared altogether. It took a good few months, but I was quite amazed, and I just thought I was very lucky, and I was able to get my life back and get back into normal living, and I really appreciated every single day after that. But I never thought, not for 1 minute, that what I had discovered could help anyone else. I just didn't understand it. And then many, many years later, after a career in pharmaceutical sales where I learned a lot about regular medicine, I then began to study NLP and advanced NLP. And that is when I discovered that if you do something well and break down the steps, identify how you did it, then other people could do it too. Well, I thought, let's give this a go. And I asked for volunteers, for people who had had any of the symptoms that I'd had. And then people came along who'd had migraine and chronic pain and chronic fatigue, and they tried the program. The first 3 people actually had migraine, and it worked on all 3. And we were astonished. I was absolutely amazed that it could work for other people. And then the whole thing got rolling, and more people came with more and more different symptoms, and so the story developed.
Your work as a master NLP practitioner helped in your research around neurological wave syndrome. Can you tell us how it works?
Well, I must say at this point that as a master NLP practitioner, that training really has helped me in many different ways. But the techniques were based on my original discovery, which were completely different to regular NLP. Now, when people began to use the program for many different symptoms, and we were astonished every single time it worked for things like sinusitis or backache, things that I hadn't been troubled by, but other people said now they were using their program for their migraine, it was also helping other conditions, things like earache, shoulder ache, all sorts of different symptoms like vertigo. And they were all disappearing too, including the psychological symptoms like depression, which was very bizarre. And so it posed the question, what was actually happening? Well, I did have some clues, because one day I was reading a book, and halfway down one page, it was a book about common ailments, and halfway down the page on IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, it said that irritable bowel syndrome begins with a wave of neurological activity. Well, at that time I could have fallen off my seat, because as a medical rep I'd sold drugs for migraine for many, many years, and migraine has a definition, a medical definition, which migraine begins with a wave of neurological activity. I actually didn't even think about what that meant when I was a medical rep. It didn't mean very much to me. And so when I discovered this written about IBS, it rang a bell. I thought, surely there's no connection between these two illnesses. I'd had migraine, got rid of my migraine, but I still have my IBS.
Well, and it sounds like, too, it's not a quick magic thing for some difficult symptoms, but that using that drive within you, you can be your own healer and rewrite and create good health for yourself.
Yes, it's absolutely true. Once you realise that no matter what symptom it is, it doesn't have to have a name, it could be just the weirdest symptom, you could use the same method and keep a record and watch it go down and down and down. And we're talking about arthritis, we're talking about sinusitis, we're talking about, I've had two clients, one with ordinary epilepsy, another client with temporal lobe epilepsy, both successful. One's using it for nervous tics, another person's using it for sweating, profuse sweating, all sorts of different symptoms. And it's worth a go, because there's nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Well, it also sounds like if someone had, performance anxiety, this could help as well in your work as well as your health.
Yes, the book explains precisely how to change any unwanted feeling in any situation, and particularly, as you say, for interviews, exams, performances. It's a wonderful thing to be able to do some simple techniques that will help you to feel normal every day, all day.
You can learn more about natural health and healing at our website at newconnectionjournal.com. Join us next time on New Connection, where you can tune in and grow.